All right, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christine Bautista, Senior Career Counselor, and I'm here today with you to talk about how you might explore careers. So I want to get started by asking several questions, and you can pick and choose what question you want to answer, and just type in your answer in the chat, or if you feel comfortable, you can unmute yourself. But I just wanted to check in. Hold on, we have someone joining us. So I just wanted to check in first, as of today, at this moment, where are you in your career exploration process? So do you feel like you're on it, like you know what you're going to do, or are you like, I have no clue, I'm still exploring? Where are you at? So if you don't mind typing in your answer in the chat, or unmuting yourself if you feel comfortable. So where are people at? Let's see. I see a response here. Yeah, just starting out, so exploring internships. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. How about other folks? Where are you at in your process? Are you a senior, like finding full-time job, or are you like a freshman wanting to get part-time job? Just checking in. Where are people at? Anybody else want to share? Okay, so some are like exploring and looking into possible internships. Thank you. So and some of you are already in a field that you're interested, but you're maybe looking for more opportunities. You're looking for a full-time job. Okay, so sophomore looking for part-time jobs, internships. So senior applying for internships. And okay, so just to clarify, like most internships usually require that you're still a current student. So I'm not sure about your senior status, because I know there's people who are senior, but they're still taking classes. So you could potentially qualify for internships. But for the most part, I would say, like, if you are a senior, you are and graduating, actually, like you're probably looking more for full-time opportunities, because internships usually require that you're still in a school. And some you're just waiting to call back, like for a job offer. Okay, cool. So everyone's at a different pace, and that's totally fine. We're all in different stages. So that totally is, that works. So I know there's people who are joining us. So let me just see if I can like I'm posting the check-in form again, and the event name is Exploring Careers for those who just joined us. So just type in your answer. Next question. What are the challenges that you face in making career decisions? Can you give an example? And you can type it in the chat. And again, because you're all in different stages, like you probably are facing different challenges. Someone who's totally new might be, so being unsure of what skills you might offer, and that's totally fine. And again, I think someone just joined us, so I just posted the check-in form. So please make sure you check in. Yeah, so for some who are like actively searching for work, like you might be exploring like, the company culture versus benefits, pay, because like in an ideal world, you have everything you're looking for in an employer, but in the real world, sometimes you have to weigh in which of these are more important for you, right? And then someone just shared, like, they don't know what the right career is there for them. And that's also totally acceptable. I mean, I don't know the current statistics, but the last time I checked, according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, like on average, because we're living longer, we would have 12 careers, right? And so I don't know that we're looking at like one particular right career, because if you're living long enough, you might have several careers. And then someone shared their major is public health, and there could be a lot of different paths. So it's hard, sometimes like when you're making decisions, the hard part of it is narrowing down the options, right? So again, thank you for sharing that. People are in different stages, and that works. So next question, who or what are your influencers in making a career decision? So as you're thinking about whether you're exploring careers or actively weighing an offer, who or what is influencing your career decision? And let's check in here. Yeah, family, future financial stability, family, definitely. So, these responses like speak to yeah, the classes you took or take. So these speak to like, what are important to you, right? Like, and that helps. And again, family and financial stability. Yeah. So it depends on the things that you value and are important to you. So there are necessarily no right or wrong answers. It's more of, what drives you are based on your values and your motivation, right? So another answer here is, yeah, passion towards certain aspects of the job, whether you want to relocate, time management for other hobbies, again, speaking to your values and what's important, right? So I think that's why it's important to get to know yourself and what's important to you. All right, so I just want, this is like a quick, I hope, a quick activity just to test assumptions about what we think about when we're thinking of, careers. Like, does major equal career? And this is like a surprising fact, like a number of doctors actually had English as their undergrad majors. So it's not just about the GPA or about a specific major. I mean, if you look at like some of the schools, like medical schools, like they will accept anyone who has a bachelor's degree with a certain GPA, of course, but they require, of course, like certain classes to take, right? So, just don't make assumptions about certain professions. So in the chat box, can you type any job or profession that you think requires a specific degree or major for that job, like explicitly saying like you must have this X major to get that career? Engineering, nursing, what else? Teaching actually, for the most part, I guess, but there are some teaching opportunities where you might not necessarily have the teaching background, and they're going to help you prepare for it. Aviation, accountants, pharmacy. So, I mean, how many have we identified? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So 6 out of thousands. I don't even know how many occupations there are, right? So a lot of professions actually don't necessarily require that you have a specific major, right? Like, I mean, unless you're like going for like a profession that requires licensing. A lot of professions, like even business majors, like or business work, like doesn't necessarily require that you have to have a business major. So I mean, I'm not going to use the questions here, right? We already talked about that. But the point of this exercise, given that we didn't really have a lot of occupations that came up, we only had 6, is that the idea is, your major doesn't necessarily dictate your career options, right? Like you have different options. All right, so this is just an example of 2 people who use, your majors in different careers. So one is Howard Schultz. So he's the Starbucks CEO, and his major was in communication. And I don't know if you watch or have watched Big Bang Theory, but Mayim Bialik, the actress, actually has a PhD in neuroscience. So it's interesting, like where their careers have taken them. So for this time that I have with you, I'm hoping that you'll identify at least 2 career paths by the end of the hour to explore further, right? And then learn 2 ways of exploring occupations or careers and find ways to connect with other professionals. We're going to watch this video, and let me just check that my audio is on. I want to make sure the sound is available to you. This is a quick video about exploring majors and careers, and it's tailored to like incoming students and freshmen, but I feel like the information is relevant regardless of where you are in your college career. So we're just going to watch this quickly. And apologize for the commercial, but I'll try to skip that soon.
When it comes to citing sources, details matter. Introducing Grammarly's Citations feature.
You've been accepted to SJSU and are getting ready for your first semester at our campus. You may be excited and a bit nervous, but there are many folks here to help you with your journey. Academic advisors and faculty advisors who have access to your course history and transcripts. These folks can help you select coursework and plan a roadmap to graduation. We also have career counselors who won't advise on academics, but can help you explore your personality, interests, skills, and values and align to majors and career pathways. Now, as a new Spartan, you might be thinking, why should I explore majors and careers? I haven't even started my coursework yet. When thinking of potential majors and career paths, it is important to have a good understanding of your personality, interests, skills, and values. If you're unsure of your major or career path, it might be helpful to explore career pathways first. Career pathways are a way to group career options that share common features such as skills and qualifications. Career pathways can help you identify a clear path and connect it to potential majors. Some examples of career pathways might be business, health, education, human services, engineering, arts, and many more. Career pathways are similar to industries and fields and often overlap. For example, a biology major might work in a business sales position for a biotech company. Let me show you how this works for Ima Spartan. Ima's met with a career counselor and identified her desired career pathway as education or public and human services. They also learned their personality is focused on social responsibility and empathy. Interests include helping others and teaching. Values are helping others and building community. Skills are teaching and advising. From those traits, Ima and their career counselor agreed that majors that can potentially support Ima's purpose are psychology, sociology, social work, and justice studies. And some careers that might interest Ima are social worker, counselor, and legal aid assistant. Ima spent time trying classes in the different majors, participating in relevant student clubs, and connecting with professors and alumni to understand themselves and their options better. After completing these activities to explore their options more deeply, Ima felt confident in selecting sociology as their major and social worker as their career interest. And most importantly, Ima didn't do it alone. At the SJSU Career Center, we have a team of professional career counselors to help you with strategies to discover your major and career path like Ima did in the example. Connect with us for additional major and career exploration support.
All right. So I hope that kind of helped put into context, right, of why we're exploring majors and careers. And again, what we're trying to look at is how your personality, so like who you are, what your natural preferences are, and your interests, like what you like, your skills, what your strengths are and areas for growth, and what's important to you, like come together, right? Then hopefully you find purpose in the career that or occupation that you choose. So for this is just to show you in terms of the model that we follow for career developmental milestones. So explore involves doing some self-assessment, looking at your skills, personality styles, values, who you are, where you're looking into your options, in terms of pathways, and then hopefully from your research and gaining some knowledge about yourself and what's out there is, next is like identifying, the skills and strengths, building the necessary experience, developing your network, and then finally launching, right? Like where you're actively searching for opportunities, where you're developing your professional brand, like, writing your resume, your LinkedIn portfolio, and then continuing developing your network and connecting with employers. So just to start, I think it's important to define some terms. So first, an occupation, basically like, because sometimes we mix these up, and honestly, sometimes I get confused myself, but so I think it's important for us to define what these things are. So first, an occupation is a broader title or entire industry. So people can share occupations, but may have different job titles. So for example, doctors, right? So that's a broader title. A career is a sequence of occupations and roles in which one engages in, including your school, your education, your work life, jobs, professional development, and retirement. So for example, you're a medical professional or a doctor. A job is a specific position, so it can be full-time or part-time, right? So it's tied to an employer. So a podiatrist at X hospital. So that's an example. So the video talked about career pathways. So these are the pathways that we, normally like where people explore, the different areas. So it could either be like you're majoring in business, or it might be you're majoring in something else, but you're interested in business, and so on and so forth. That's true for the other pathways as well. So I think if you can share in the chat, why did you choose your major? What attracted you to your major? So if you can share your major and what made you choose it. Can somebody share? Let's check in. Okay, you chose hospitality. And what attracted you to hospitality? Is you're a people person? Okay. Travel and helping people is the reason why for hospitality. Accounting, it was listed first. Okay, so like we have like random reasons, right? Like for why we chose our major. What is, as now you're probably taking some classes, like what do you find interesting about your field of study? Okay, so I'm seeing some answers here, like public health, like a lot of freedom, social justice emphasis, a lot of opportunity. Someone is majoring in aviation and they enjoy traveling in airplanes. We have another public health major and they fell in love with advocacy and policy. Okay, cool. So that's like what you share. So yeah, like you chose health sciences because it targeted underserved communities. Okay, someone was attracted in business because you could see like all the wide range of options for growth. So there's very different reasons, right? Does your major align with your career path of interest? Do you think that it has to be? Why or why not? And I don't know if someone unmuted themselves on purpose or not, but anyway, if you want to unmute yourself or type it in the chat, do you think your major aligns with your career path of interest? Do you think it has to be? Why or why not? I think people are thinking. Anybody want to share? Let's see. Okay, I think I'm seeing some responses now. Yes, want to be CPA and requires business, of course. I don't think it has to be because I graduated with hospitality and work in a hotel, but I'm pursuing my MBA. Yeah, so it can work both ways, right? I think for those, like I mentioned earlier, if you're going for like a licensed profession, you do have to take like, you have to take a course or a program that really prepares you for that. But for the most part, like there are some who can like switch, right, and pursue different things. Yeah, I mean, yes, definitely you have to have some interest in your major, so that you'll be motivated in continuing to learn. Okay. What occupations or career pathways are you considering or interested in? Anybody want to share? I think some of you folks shared that earlier, but if you don't mind resharing again. Medical degree, teaching, public health administration, business, improving healthcare. Cool. So people have some folks have an idea of what they want to do. CPA, tax lawyer. All right, cool. Community health education, disease investigator. These are all like sound, so interesting. That's cool. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, you could be in a, pursuing a certain major, but you could be going into a different, or having interest in different area, right? So for example, maybe you're studying psychology, but you're interested in business. So what I'm showing you right now is basically like how our counselors are assigned to work with students who have either majors or career interest areas in specific areas. So for example, there is business financial logistics, Judy is for art, I and Twee, this is not kind of updated, but we have another counselor who can help out with those that are interested in education and public health and human services. And then we have Kristen for health. And then we have for STEM, Kelly and Judy. So if you are, let's say, you're a psychology major, you want to get into education, health, and public service, you want to talk to me. But if you're a psychology major, but you're interested in business, you might want to consider talking to Larissa. So that is, you know, how you can learn more about possible options. And you could also use ONET. I'll go to ONET later. So in terms of exploring, there are two ways, these are the goals that we talked about earlier, is first, you do some self-assessment. So you get to know yourself, see what your options are, your preferences are. And the second is doing informational interviews, and we'll go dive deep into each. Okay, so Focus 2 is an online self-guided assessment and planning tool designed to help you explore majors and careers. So I want you to follow along. So if you can go to onesjsu.edu, open a separate tab in your computers, go to onesjsu.edu and type Focus 2 and select it. And once you've found it and done it, please do the thumbs up so I know that you have found it. Okay, so I see two people who found it, waiting for more folks to find Focus 2. Okay, we're getting more folks now. Cool. All right, I'm gonna wait for a few more seconds here for other people. You found it. Okay. Okay, I'm seeing more people found it. Okay, cool. And then what you want to do, so I'm going to stop share here because I want to go and toggle and show you, just so we're all in the same page. Let me just log in here. Okay, and let me share my screen again. Oh, hold on. It's asking me to log in my information, so I have to log in again. I thought I was already logged in. Sorry, I apologize for that. Let me just log in again. Okay, so now let me share my screen. And hopefully everyone is on Focus 2 and this is the landing page that they see. Can you give me a thumbs up that we're all on the same page, like after you open Focus 2? Okay, I'm seeing thumbs up. Cool, cool, cool. All right, if you're lost, please send me a message on chat. I'll walk everyone through the process again. I want to make sure we're all doing this because you're going to be doing this in the next couple of minutes. All right, so there's different tools here that you could use for your career planning, but for today, for the next, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, what I want for you to do is to complete the work interest assessment. So when we say assessment, it's not a test. There are no right or wrong answers. It's really like taking into account, like, what are your preferences, like at this current, space and time, right? So, click on work interest, you'll see statements. It'll ask like how true that holds for you. And so I'll give you about 5 to 10 minutes. I'll check in 5 minutes and see if, people are done. Because and again, don't overthink it. Just answer with the first thing that comes to mind. So I'm going to mute my video and my audio. I'll give you like 5 to 10 minutes to complete the assessment. And we're talking about the work interest assessment. All right, does that sound good? Thumbs up if you agree. All right, so I'm seeing some thumbs up. Cool, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna turn my video off so you guys could have like 5 to 10 minutes. I'll check in the 5-minute mark. Thank you. So follow along and look at your results page. So When you click on results, this is what you see first. So you see a 3-letter code. So it's based on Holland's career theory. So he believes we have 6 interest areas, but out of the 6, you have your top 3. So for this profile, it's SAI. And then you can read further on what the codes actually, the letters in the code actually mean. So for example, for social, they're the helpers. It's not how outgoing or popular you are. It's more about like your orientation to helping people. And then creators, it could be like, you know, the regular arts that you think of, you associate with the arts, but it could also be for anyone who likes to create new things and are innovative. And then investigative are thinkers. They have a strong desire to understand cause and effect. Realistic are the doers, like they prefer, you know, working on things, you know, being physically active. Enterprising are the persuaders. So they like selling, you know, not necessarily products, but it could also be ideas, you know, encouraging people, helping people change their minds about certain things. And then conventional are the organizers. So they create the systems, they organize everything. So you can read further into it. When you click on continue, what you will see are 4 columns. So the first column is a list of occupations that are being matched to you based on your preference. Again, keep that in mind. It's based on preference and interest. It's not based on skill. It's not based on your personality. You know, it's not based on your values. It's based on like, you know, based on your general interests. Like these are the suggested occupations. So I'd like for you to look at the occupation side, and I'm going to show you on our career center. If you click on the word career resources, you can go to all of our printable guides and resources. We have a major and career exploration guide. So I'll drop it in the chat. If you can go to the occupation exploration worksheet, click on that. I'd like for you to choose 3. So basically fill out the first column, right? Like occupations that showed up on your focus 2. So let's go back to here. So it's look at the first column. So you can look at the occupations being suggested to you and then just choose the 3 that, you know what, I want to look into this further, or this sounds interesting. And to let you know, if you click on the word, it'll actually lead you to a page that gives you more information about that specific occupation. So it'll share information about skills needed, values, education requirements, common areas of study, and, you know, possible earnings, you know, in that area. So I'll give you about maybe, you know, 3 minutes. Again, just look at the first column, identify the 3 occupations, write them in the guide, the occupation exploration worksheet. Write the 3 interesting occupations you want to look further into. So I'm going to turn off my video for the next 2 to 3 minutes as you quickly, again, you know, you probably want to spend more time later on after our session today, but just quickly, just, you know, based on just a quick view, like which of these occupations that popped up for you sound interesting that you want to look further into. Cool. So hopefully you're getting, you know, some ideas, right? Like to look further into. So yes, I encourage you to complete the worksheet on your own, you know, after our session. You can look at the top 3 skills on Focus 2. Like I showed you how you click on an occupation and it'll show you more information. It also has a list of values, you know, what you might earn and any considerations, right? Like maybe you're looking into a profession, it says, oh, I need to do grad school or I need to get certified, whatever, right? And then hopefully, like as you do more research, you can rank, you know, which of the 3, you know, is your top 1, top 2, and top 3. And you can fill this portion out if you have further questions, right? In addition to Focus 2, you could actually use Own It. So you can use the 3-letter code that you got from your Focus 2 work interest assessment to find more occupations on Own It. So if you go to interest, browse Own It data by interest, click on it, and hopefully you're following along. Let me just copy this and put it in the chat so you can follow along. if you click on, you would pick your number one, whatever came up for you, right? So for the example I showed you, it's SAI. So at first click S, and then you pick your second interest, and then you pick your third, and then you click on go. And it'll show you additional occupations. Some of them may already be in focus 2, some may not. If you see the sun, it means there's a bright outlook, meaning they're hiring faster than average. They're anticipating a need. So if you're thinking about job stability, you know, you might want to look at occupations that have the sun, right? Because maybe they're going to need that in the next couple of years. So if you click on a particular occupation similar to Focus 2, it has information about, you know, what skills are required, you know, what you might need in terms of experience and education. But what I like about this one is you can use this tool where you could search, like, you know, for a particular state if you need a credential, right? You could write down, you know, California, or if they need licensing, you can do that. In addition to that information, if you scroll down, you could actually search wages by zip code, by state. So right now I'm just going to choose state, California, and then you click on go. And it'll show you a comparison on annual wages, right, based on the state and compared to overall. So this is like a good tool for, you know, doing more research, because a lot of you mentioned like financial stability is like a consideration earlier. So I think this would be a good tool for you. All right. So again, you know, please continue completing the worksheet later on. But anyway, I just want to check in, like, what were your thoughts or feelings about your Focus 2 results? I'm wondering what came up for you. And you can type it in the chat or unmute yourself. Any thoughts or feelings that came up? Did you like it? Did you like, I'm not even sure like why this came up for me? Like, what was your reaction? Okay, so someone says like hospitality is the right path, but Focus 2 suggested otherwise. So again, like I said, Focus 2 result, you're just looking at one assessment, right? Like maybe hospitality will come up for your other, there's other assessments in this tool. And again, this is a feedback tool, right? So sometimes like you might get a feedback that, hey, you know, you should be looking into this because that is more your natural inclination, right? Like if you chose this profession, it'll be easier for you because this fits your personality. This clearly fits your interest. But, you know, assessments are not that dynamic, right? They don't see all the nuances of things. You might have interest in something, even if that's not like your natural inclination. So for me, for example, my personality type, I'm fit to be an accountant, but that's not really what I'm interested in. I'm in counseling. So again, there's other factors that come in your decision making. But for some people, it makes them feel that they're on the right track because it mirrors exactly like what they were considering. Yeah, so some might be surprised by, you know, what their areas of interest are. Like maybe they thought they were gonna score higher in one area or the other. But again, like I said, there, you know, it's just looking at one piece. There might be other areas. Yeah, so sales. Oh my gosh, like I think sales is a skill that can be applied in anywhere, right? All right, so thank you for sharing that. So the next way to learn about occupation, so we talked about assessments, and one of them is Focus 2. There's other assessments, but what's easily readily available to you is Focus 2. Another way to look into researching occupations or learning about careers is networking through, you know, informational interview, right? So when you do informational interview, the answer is in the statement, like the way it's called. You're really talking to someone to get information. You're not seeking a job. So you're setting up an appointment with someone because you want to learn, how did they launch their career? How did they get started in this job? Like, you know, what types of experiences did they build to land wherever they want to land, right? So it's about sharing information and resources. You always want to be polite, friendly, and professional if you choose to do an informational interview because, you know, these folks might be a future boss or colleague. And It does require research on your behalf, right? Like when you're, trying to set this up or connecting with someone. So some tips, do your homework, read, if there's things you could read on the internet about the company or the role, do that, like, so that when you're setting up a meeting with someone, you're going to ask questions that cannot be answered by Google, right? Like things that only the person themselves can answer, right? So for example, you're interested about work-life balance, then that maybe is something that you could ask, like, what is it like? What's a typical day? So you want to learn more about those things. And then when you do an informational interview, you can also ask, like, who else should you talk to? You always want to write a thank you note, and you do want to keep in touch. Like when you reach out to someone for an informational interview, it's not just hopefully not just like a one-time thing. Like you want, hopefully, you're building a network, right? And so, keeping a professional relationship is important. Yeah, so you want to, you could do it in person, you could do it, but I mean, it's just convenient to do it by Zoom or like over the phone. So, when you're reaching out to someone, just ask them what their preference is. All right. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to watch a video, but you could click on it and watch a video. All right. So after informational interviews, you want to make notes about the contact that you made while it's still fresh in your mind. You want to follow up with a thank you note to acknowledge their time. And if someone made a specific suggestion, show that you followed up on their advice. So let's say you talk to someone and they say, oh, you should read this book, and follow through, read the book, tell them what you thought, how it had helped you. Or if they tell you like, oh, you should talk to XYZ, update them, tell them, hey, thank you for connecting me with XYZ, we have a meeting next week, that kind of stuff. And then you want to set up your own system of keeping track of follow-up activities. And again, maintain contact, like you're trying to build a relationship, right? Once a semester, I think it's fine. Like I usually use like holidays as an excuse, like if I have a connection on LinkedIn, I say, hey, how was your, July 4th holiday, just to check in. Or, I think LinkedIn sometimes like sends birthday reminders. So I usually like greet people on their birthday. All right. So one way to connect with alumni is SJSU Square. So it's an online mentoring platform that connects mentee to mentors and that are seeking support, right? So what's great about SJSU Square is the people who sign up here are alumni who really want to get to know you, to help you because they see themselves, as former students and want to help someone like themselves. There's 3 ways to connect, but I think actually right now it's just the 2. It's not the groups. Groups I think are no longer available. I think it's primarily Quick Connections and the Professional Mentoring Meetup program. Quick Connection is open to students all year round. You can ask someone for quick chat, and I'll show you shortly how to do that. The PMM program is admit by application, and it's usually fall or spring only, and it's more structured. So before I talk about next steps, I will show you how to go to, so you can go to One SJSU to find SJSU Square, or you can go to the Career Center. If you hover over the word resources, you'll see all of our apps. So I'll just click on SJSU Square, and as long as you're logged in, just click on the icon and it should open up for you. All right, so if it's your first time, it'll ask you a bunch of questions, but after that, you're going to be on this landing page. I'm curious, like how many people here have used SJSU Square? If you can show by thumbs up. And if you haven't, that's totally fine. Like that's why I want to check in. Okay, so I see one person, so this might just be a refresher for you. So for those that, I'm like, oh, I didn't know this existed. You go to Quick Connections, and if you see like a green light, it means they're currently online. You can engage with them, but you do want to think about like who you want to connect with. So you could use these filters, or you can just use the search button. I would say because we're still growing this network, right? So you want to be creative in terms of like how to find people, like you want to think about roles, you want to think about industries, you want to think about companies. So use different keywords to search. Can anyone type in the chat like any occupation that they're interested in, and let's see if there's occupation or company name or major that you're interested in, and let's see if there are folks in the platform. What occupation, major, or company are you interested in? Anybody? Let's see here. Okay, so accounting and public health. So let's start with accounting and then let's see. Okay, accounting. So I typed in accounting. And these are the people who have the word accounting in their profile. And I think maybe this person, let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna randomly like select someone. Let's see here. So Brian. So let's say Brian is someone that you're interested, like oh, he works at PayPal. Cool, I want to connect with Brian. You click on message Brian. On the left panel, you'll see some information about his profile. And then some are, there's templates here that you could already use if you want, but you can also customize the template or you can create your own, right? Back to profile. And then any communication you have, it'll be here in the envelope section. Let me click on that. Oh my gosh, like my computer is not cooperating with me. Any communication is here. You'll see your messages. You can actually like use the system itself. You don't need to set up an appointment outside. Like, you could, you could talk, you have to talk about like when you're actually going to meet, but you don't need to use another system to connect. Like you can use the system to do like a dial-in number, so you don't have to share your personal number. You could do a video call if you want. So yes. All right. So that's how you find people on SJSU Square. So I'm going to move forward because we have about 8 minutes left, and I do want to make sure I let you guys go early. All right. So just some next steps. So take focus 2, review and update your occupation exploration worksheet, right, based on your results. Complete the career decision-making activity if you need help with your decision-making process. And this can be found in the guide that I had shared with you. So there's an explanation of, how do you make decisions, right? So there's an acronym here, define the problem, establish your criteria, choose options, identify pros and cons, decide, and evaluate your results. And there's an actual worksheet here that you could use, as you're trying to decide. So maybe like you looked into occupations and there's 2 that's just like equally interesting, then maybe this will help narrow down for you. You connect with an alumni on SJSU Square Quick Connections to learn more about, they launch their career. And of course, consult with a career counselor to review your focus to results and your occupation exploration as needed. So again, I want to show you how you might want to connect with your counselor. If you click on resources, we have here under develop your career plan, the career pathways checklist, and let me share that with you and drop it in the chat. And again, if your major is business, connect with Larissa, or if you have another major but you're interested in business, I would suggest connecting with Larissa and talking about your results. If you want to come and visit us, we're at the administration building, room 255, and that concludes our presentation.